A very interesting coincidence, you guys, is that George Floyd was born on October 14th, and so was Kirk Charlie. Kirk Charlie and George Floyd have the same birthday, except George Floyd was born on October 14th, 1973, and CK was born on October 14th, 1993. Isn't that insane?
The U.S. Senate just passed the National Day of Remembrance for Charlie. What day do you think it's on? What day? Just take a wild guess. George Floyd's birthday. They want to get a reaction out of black people so bad. They are just itching at it. They want it so bad. I have never seen anything like this in my life. And I can only imagine what they're thinking. Like, why aren't black people reacting? They want us to react so bad to something, anything, because they have a plan, they have an agenda, and they're just trying to figure out why black people are not folding, why they're not saying anything, why they're not doing anything. They're just trying to pick, like really, truly poking the bear. Even when everything happened, what did they do? They automatically started harassing HBCUs right off the bat. Then in Oklahoma, somebody is trying to pass a law where on every university they put a statue memorial of Charlie. Oklahoma is ranked like damn near 50 in education, and you're worried. This is your concern. But guess what? Langston University at HBCU is in Oklahoma. And I'm real curious on if they decide to do this and pass this, is the HBCU gonna stand on business? We are slowly being tested. We're slowly being tested in these small increment ways. And it just brings me back to what those farmers were saying, how they were told that Hispanics were taking black jobs, and how they thought that black people were going to take on those roles. And then they're doing the whole thing with the, I don't want to say the initials, but y'all know what I'm talking about, where they're paying attention to the races that's being hired and all that. It's like they're trying to shift black people into this direction. They're trying so bad to put us over here, trying to get rid of all of the history in the Smithsonian. They're trying to erase black history, and they're trying their best to get us to react to anything. They're literally trying to pick on us. They are really trying it. They literally want us to be slaves so bad. They want us in shackles so bad that they willing to cut their own hands and feet. Mind you, black people and Hispanics are top consumers in the U.S. Not a good thing, because that just goes to show you that we don't know how to manage our money. But you're literally chopping off your hands. You're willing to drown for this shit. You're willing to drown for it.
So the U.S. Senate just dropped a resolution to designate October 14th as National CK Remembrance Day because it's his birthday. Okay, fine. Except that it's also George Floyd's birthday. Yeah, October 14th, 1973. Yeah, y'all know, George Floyd, the one whose murder sparked the movement of Black Lives Matter and further fueled the movement for social justice and systemic change nationwide. Yeah, the whole world knows his name because he matters. And that day, his birthday, is not just a day for many of us. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of honoring what was lost and what still needs fixing. So when the Senate picks a day to honor someone else, someone who has spoken out hatefully towards that same person without recognizing the meaning that that day already holds, yeah, that feels less like a coincidence and more like a choice, and not a small one. But here's the thing, we can decide what to do with this because we are still the people. We can either stay upset or we can make that outrage count. Share this video, make sure everybody knows what the Senate is doing and who they are instead choosing to honor. Save that date, October 14th, and let's flood it with George Floyd stories, remembrances, works of art in his honor, calls for action. And talk to your reps, call your Senate, call your representative. Ask them why this resolution wasn't paired with also honoring George Floyd's legacy. Do not let this slide like it's just one of those things, because it's not. It is them sending a very clear message. They are quite blatantly telling us who they think matters in this country and who they think is and is not worth honoring. Because if our history and our pain and those we've lost are not worth honoring, then what is it that they're doing? Yeah, so we're going to make sure that October 14th means all of it. George Floyd, justice, Black Lives Matter and truth. The movement is not dead, and it's not going anywhere. They want to try to ignore us into silence. That ain't happening.
So they unanimously voted that there's a Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, which is his birthday, which in coincidence is supposed to be George Floyd's birthday. And there was so much talk about George Floyd and Charlie Kirk lately. This is just weird to me. This, like, the whole world is just freaking weird. This is just weirdo shit. So you're going to celebrate and give this man a holiday. And I guess we'll be divided on that day too, because they're going to have a George Floyd Remembrance Day as well. Their birthdays are the same, October 14th. George Floyd was October 14th, 1973. And Charlie Kirk, I think, is 1994 or something like that. This is weird. I mean, take me out the Matrix. Take me out, Lord, what is going on? I just want to go back to normal living. This is just too much. It's just too much. They share the same birthday. And he spoke about him so much. That's weird.
Charlie Kirk is white people's George Floyd. That sounds like a crazy sentence to you. Imagine how I feel realizing that. They think a man who is unalived by the state for no discernible reason other than his race is the same as a man who was unalived by a private citizen for things that he said, things that came out of his mouth, beliefs that he held. And I want to be very clear about two things. Noting a difference and condoning something are not the same thing. What happened to George Floyd was a result of systematic oppression, a system of oppression that has impacted Black people since they existed in the United States of America. What happened to CK was a result of right-wing infighting. He was a prominent figure on the right wing, and somebody wanted to unalive a prominent figure on the right wing as a meme. Once again, pointing out a difference and condoning something are not the same thing. So to say that in his life, CK said things that were very violent, racist, homophobic, sexist, no matter who he was shaking hands with, no matter who is currently mourning him and what they look like and where they come from, all of those things are true. This is a man who was a public figure. He was assassinated. That is an accurate way of describing what happened to him. George Floyd was just a man, and they are acting like this is the same thing. Putting "Thank you, Charlie Kirk" stickers on coffee cups in San Diego. Based off of the way people are talking, you would think this man was the Pope. He was a man of God. He spread the word. He was doing this. He was doing that. He was a hateful bigot. Once again, pointing out a fact is not the same as condoning something. I'm a child of Christ, and he leads me in every action I take. I keep this next to my bed, and I've read it, okay? So if you haven't, don't come up in my comments talking about what you think God does. But then you add on top of it the fact that the things that he was saying were very incendiary. This isn't like if somebody assassinated Taylor Swift. Like, all she does is sing for the most part and sometimes endorse Democrats. Like, this is a person who said things that were inflammatory in public. Once again, pointing out a fact is not the same thing as condoning something.
What is crazy? Today, October 14th, is actually an important day, and not for the reasons you might think. It's George Floyd's birthday. Yeah, the same George Floyd whose life was taken in one of the most painful and unforgettable moments in modern American history. He would have been celebrating today, maybe with his family, maybe quietly somewhere, just thankful for life, but he'll never get to do that again because of what was done to him. Yeah, I wanted to say what happened to him. It was what was done to him. And guess what? The Senate made October 14th a day to honor CK. Yeah, the conservative activist and founder of Turning Point USA, known for his right-wing takes and outspoken stance on almost every issue tied to race, politics, and culture. You see where this starts to get complicated, right? Yeah, do you see that? Because if you think about it, why move it to this day? Why the very same day that should have been a remembrance day for George Floyd, a man whose unaliving shook the entire world and ignited the biggest protest America has seen in decades? Why not any other day? Some people say it's just a coincidence. Others say it's politics. Others say it's spiritual because Charlie and CK and George Floyd are sharing the same birthday. Yeah. the usual game of symbolism over sincerity. But no matter how you look at it, today feels like a divided day. On one side, you've got the left standing in remembrance of George Floyd, speaking his name, holding on to what he represented: justice, equality, accountability. And on the other side, the right, rallying around CK, calling it a day of celebration, honoring him, freedom of expression. And I can already tell the arguments online are going to be wild, like it's already happening. Everyone's got their version of what today means to them. Some will call it unity, others will call it disrespect. But maybe that's where America is right now, torn between two legacies, two men, two symbols of the same fight, just seen from completely different sides. So yeah, let's keep watching these clips. Let's see how this days, plays out, because October 14 might just reveal more about where this country truly stands than any headline speech.
Did y'all see they making October 14th Charlie Kirk's birthday, Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day, National Charlie Kirk Remembrance Day? I just want this to be a reminder to all of us that they can do whatever they want. Okay? If you ever working in corporate, you know what I'm talking about. They can do whatever they want, So we couldn't give you that job because you didn't have the qualifications. Yes, they could. Yes, they could. They could just give you the job. And you don't have the qualifications. That's what they do. They do whatever they want. Okay? They push through papers for people who they want to push them for. They just don't do it for you. The rules only apply to you. The rules only apply to us. For everybody else, they do whatever they want. They give whoever they want the job. Podcasters, influencers, reality TV stars get the top jobs in the country. But for us, we got to do this, that, and the third, stomp on your foot. Don't you forget it. Bring it around town. We got to do all of that. These people could do whatever they want. But anyway, October 14th is also, ironically, George Floyd's birthday. So it worked out for us in the end.
So the Senate has voted to recognize October 14th, as a day for Charlie Kirk. Before we go further into this, Black people, I need us to stand down and continue to mind our business. We know games are being played, and they're being played in our face. Next up, October 14th is George Floyd's birthday. Why would you move a day of recognition or whatever it is to a month where it didn't happen? Typically, you do it on the day that something happened, right? And so Democrats are saying, apparently, that they are probably going to vote this in for the House as well. Again, the Senate has unanimously, Democrats and Republicans. So now it's down in the House. The House is saying they are going to have to do it so that they don't look like they condone violence, political violence. Mind you, a state rep and her husband was shot and killed back in June, and they had nothing for them. People who are actually a part of not Congress, but of more equal value than that person. So as far as I'm concerned, these next elections, everybody can go. So if anybody is thinking about running, I will be voting for you. They all got to go.
So at this point, you can't help but feel like this whole thing might be a setup, a kind of rage bait. It almost feels like they're testing to see how far they can push, how far they can go before Black Americans, Black folks react in a way that gives them an excuse to carry out whatever mission they have lined up. What can I say? What can a person say? Because let's be real, the timing, the symbolism, the choice of date, none of this looks accidental. They could have chosen any other day on the calendar, but they picked 14th. Why didn't they just choose the same day the incident happened as a day of remembering and honoring CK? That says a lot, right? But make no mistakes about it. Make no mistake about this. Black Americans are still standing tall, still not bending, still not falling into the trap They've learned, they've seen how narratives get flipped, how every reaction gets twisted into something else to justify an agenda. At this point, the community knows when something is meant to provoke them, and when it's meant to divide. And this right here, this feels like a little bit of both, or more of both. It's like that sister said in one of the videos, she said they're choosing who to honor and who not to. And this hits very deep because it's true. It's so true. It's like they're rewriting history right in front of us, deciding who gets remembered with honor and who gets buried in silence. George Floyd wasn't a politician or a celebrity. He was a human being who became a symbol of a system's failure, a victim of police brutality, unalived by someone who was supposed to protect him. His name became a cry for justice, a reminder that the system was built to work for some and not for all. I've come across a lot of videos, people from the right, saying that, when George Floyd wasn't alive, there something like, they said something like, there were riots, and when CK was unalived, we prayed. I mean, I don't want to say so much on this because a person with senses will not even go in those directions. I mean, Floyd was a victim. He was deliberate. The whole world saw what happened to that one. The CK, that they planned everything for him. Whatever happened to him, I don't know. I don't even want to say so much about that. But you cannot compare the two, okay? Yeah, so I don't even understand why they had to choose this day to make it CK's day of honoring him. I don't understand. You have to ask yourself, why pick his birthday? Why take a date that should have been reserved for remembrance, reflection, and healing, and turn it into something entirely? This is up to something. Yeah, I can feel it because it sure feels like someone somewhere knew exactly what they were doing, Now, don't get me wrong. People are free to honor whoever they want. But making October 14th the official day of honor CK feels like something deeper. Yeah, I can say that. Charlie was known for his conservative views, his commentary, and his outspoken criticism of movements that George Floyd's unaliving, he said a lot of things. I don't even want to say. We can't speak freely anymore. So when you choose his name to be honored on this day, it's not just it's not adding up, guys. It's not adding up. I can tell you, if given a chance, if he was given a chance to choose a day that he was meant to be remembered, I don't think he himself would choose this day, because he said a lot of negative things about this man, George Floyd. Yeah, so I don't understand. Yeah, it's almost like they're saying, this is our day now. It's no longer yours. You can't do anything. You can't celebrate. You can't talk about this day. This is what it is giving. And that's why many folks are calling this out, because it doesn't feel like unity. It feels like a provocation. It feels like in other words, it feels like another move in the culture chess game America's been stuck in for years. Some will say it's about freedom of speech. Others will call it what it is, an intentional act to stir emotion and division. So yeah, today might feel like a divided day. On one side, you've got people remembering George Floyd, honoring his life, his legacy, and what his death exposed about the justice system. On the other hand, you've got the right wing celebrating of CK, a man who's built his platform on questioning those very same movements. It's like they've drawn a line right through the middle of October 14th, forcing America to pick a day on a day that should have been about healing and not making headlines. But in the face of all this, one thing is clear: Black Americans are not taking the bait. We are watching. Speaking as a person who's been adopted by the Black American community, we are thinking and refusing to let anyone use their pain for political theater, because they know what this is. They can see the playbook. They understand the moment they react out of anger, the headlines will flip, the story will shift, and the same cycle of blame will start again. At this point, it's not even about politics. It's about respect for a man who's unaliving changed the world, and respect for a community that's still fighting to be heard without being manipulated. So yes, this feels like a rage bait. And whoever thought this was a smart move, well, they underestimated just how much people are paying attention now. I mean, I'm from Africa. Look at what I'm talking about. Yeah, so I've left that to you guys. Let me know what you think about this, because honestly, this one doesn't just feel symbolic. It feels strategic. It feels strange. And that's the part that should make all of us pause and pay attention to what is happening in the world, especially in the US. Man, a country. Yeah, if you haven't subscribed to this channel, go ahead, subscribe, turn on that notification bell so that every time I upload such new videos, guys, you'll be notified. I'll definitely see you in my next video. Please stay peaceful.